Hey, it's Christy from Einity, and if you are wondering what makes a person a sellout or an opportunist, then this video is for you. So we are in week 5 of this quarantine, and given that the pandemic has really put a halt on our daily lives and our routines, and we're basically, living in a space of uncertainty, I've been amazed and really grateful for all of the creatives, the companies, and the organizations that stepped up to the plate and adapted to the times and were able to successfully and consistently rise to the occasion to provide us with resources and a sense of relief and really a release from everything that has been going on. And I know that also there are artists and people and organizations that have, put out work and even created services and products to help people during these times. But at the same time, some of these people are being criticized, not just people, but organizations as well, are being criticized in the sense for taking advantage of the pandemic to push their agenda. So naturally, I have been paying a lot of attention to the social and the political climate that's surrounding the pandemic, and I am also rereading a book called The Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein. I actually read it for the first time in grad school, and I swear something told me to pick it up again. I felt like it was going to be relevant for the times, and I tell you it is, and I highly recommend it to you. And it's over 500 pages, but it's also an audiobook if that's more your vibe. But, as I was getting into the book again, it did get me to think about the idea of being an opportunist, or what makes a person a sellout, because the premise that the shock doctrine centers on is the exploitation of national, or in our case, global crises to establish policies that are controversial, even questionable. And this happens while people are just too distracted, too stressed out, as I'm sure a lot of us are, about what's going on. And we're just too distracted to even pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes, and let alone act on it. So, this might sound a bit off because, I'm not going to be talking about policy here, at least not in this case, not right now. But it did get me to think about, what makes a person, or in our case, what makes creatives sellouts and opportunists. So I thought it would be good to first define the terms. I took a few definitions of sellout and found the commonalities. So I am defining a sellout as a person who compromises their integrity, their authenticity, their morality or principles in exchange for personal gain. And this personal gain is usually in financial terms, or for notoriety, or to impress other people. And then for the arts in particular, it goes further to express someone who tailors their work to a mainstream or a commercial audience. An opportunist is a person who exploits circumstances to gain immediate advantage rather than be guided by principles or plans. So you can pretty much say that they're nearly one and the same, though opportunism goes a step further with the concept of exploitation. So I asked some creatives to chime in on what they considered as a sellout or an opportunist, and I would say that their responses were pretty much in line with the definitions that I gave you. However, there were some artists that reached out and said, that's not a fair term, because artists are allowed to do whatever they want with their work and their persona. So it's not right to always call them a sellout when they're trying to move forward in their careers. Another argument, which is true, is that artists have counted on patronage for centuries, and these relationships were considered natural. So it's one of those things where you could say that the term sellout maybe evolved over time. So here's a question I want to present. Who gets to call it out? who gets to say that someone's a sellout? And if we call someone out, are we positioning ourselves as more righteous and pure ideologically, and then criticizing someone else for being unrighteous? What if an underground artist gets an opportunity to perform at a mainstream event or for mainstream media like radio or TV or whatnot? Is it fair to call them a sellout? Like, do we not want to see them succeed? Because I even saw that some people argued and pointed out that some artists became very successful after selling out. So it's one of those things where it's like, do you do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do? Like, does that apply here? Or you might be one of those people that says like, who freaking cares? Because it's about judgment, right? And then you have people like me who are always encouraging folks to get past judgment and to do you and all of that stuff. Well, there are instances when you should care. And so then the question is, how do you approach an opportunity without being a sellout and without being an opportunist? So, of course, I am going to ask you a series of questions that you should be asking yourself to determine whether you are selling out or being an opportunist. The first question, are you abandoning healthy relationships? And keyword on healthy, because toxic relationships you should definitely cut off. Keyword is healthy relationships. Do you have to absolutely cut off your support system in order to move forward with a particular opportunity? The second question, are you talking down on or shining a bad light on your community or your culture? The third question, are you partnering with a person, a company, or an organization that has done harm or continues to do harm to people, even if it's indirect? The fourth question, are you advocating for a product, a cause, a person, a company, an ideology that acts against the interest of humanity or has the potential to cause harm to one's psyche? So the fifth question to ask yourself is whether you are compromising your truth and your authenticity. And if you answered yes or maybe to that question or any of the other questions that I just presented, then you might want to rethink moving forward with that thing or that opportunity. Also, I want you to ask yourself, and I always refer back to this, if nothing else, ask yourself, how does that decision make you feel? And then follow that question up with whether you'll be able to live with a calm mind and conscience moving forward. In the end, only you'll know whether or not you're selling out, because your instincts will tell you, your conscience, your gut, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't lie to you. And if you are selling out and you are okay with that mental battle that you're about to partake in with yourself, just remember these things, okay? Selling out might help you in the short term, but that thing that you do will always be a part of your history. And not only that, the truth of who you are, who you truly are, will always come through. However, if a decision is in line with your truth, then who's really to say anything, right? Not right. Or it depends. I would actually say that it depends, just as long as it's not at the expense of innocent people. So I thank you again for watching. I hope that it was helpful. And also, at least during the quarantine, what I've been doing is going on IG Live Monday through Friday, 7:45 a.m. morning tea with me. If you're up, please join me and bring your questions, bring your concerns, anything about the state of the industry, or if you have questions about strategy. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help. So other than that, just remember that you are an artist, you are a visionary, and you are a leader, and you're a part of a generation of activists at the forefront of positive change. So again, thank you for watching. Please, please, please stay safe. Take good care of yourself. I'm sending you a virtual hug. I miss hugs so much. Yeah, and we'll link again soon.